winter.
Yes, believe it or not.
And we have got a pretty sizable winter storm headed our way.
All right, so it was in the 70s today. We had 80s this week. I mean, we're literally now 2 hours from winter, and we're about 4 hours away from seeing the first winter storm moving our way. So Mother Nature got the memo, that is for sure. This is what we're tracking. Winter weather advisory, yes. This is for the mountains of southeastern Arizona, the Catalinas, for example, the Rincons, Mount Graham as you make your way up toward the White Mountains, and it gets a little bit juicier than that as you make your way a little bit farther to the north. This is central sections of Arizona under a flood watch. This includes Phoenix. I would not be surprised if this flood watch actually moved a little bit farther to the south to include Tucson. I think places like Phoenix and Tucson get about the same amount of rain, and then that red box right there, that's a winter storm watch. That could be talking about 18, possibly maybe up to 24 inches of snow across Arizona's extreme high country above 10,000 feet. So tracking mountain snow level starts off 8,000 feet, drops down to about 7,000 feet Saturday morning. Significant snow mainly above that 8,000 to / 8,500 foot level. Mount Lemmon 6 to 10 inches of snow, a good bet. Mount Graham, the White Mountains, maybe closer to 9 to 13 inches. And as I mentioned, possibly 10,000 feet and higher toward Flagstaff, northern White Mountains, maybe closer to 2 feet. Tracking valley rain, heaviest rain starts late tomorrow morning through Friday evening, and then we're going to get a secondary batch of rain moving through on Saturday as well. Isolated storms are also possible, mostly from Tucson and points south and east. I'm not expecting anything too severe, but we could see some small hail, higher rain amounts as you make your way Tucson and points northward where that flood watch has been enacted for. Winter storm impacts, heavy showers Friday and Saturday. That will impact travel. Please, we want to be careful on the roadways there. No hydroplaning, minor flooding, ponding, reduced visibility at times, and finally those slick roads for the valleys and some of that slush, some of that ice, some of those snow-covered roads. Expect winter driving. Please call ahead with the road hotline. Certainly impact the patience, the four-wheel drive, and the chains if you're spending Christmas up in Arizona's high country. Hard to believe we got cloud-free skies across really the entire state right now. Here's that area of low pressure. This is a pretty tightly wound up system. It's been in Northern California, now Southern California. This will ultimately make its way onshore, and check out all that deep dark green. This is tomorrow, Friday. It's going to be a soggy day. Saturday, going to be a soggy day. Probably the biggest storm across the entire lower 48 is going to be right on top of us Christmas weekend, but by Christmas Day, things really start to dry out pretty substantially. Tracking the rain, it just starts to pick up, moving from west to east all the way through the day Friday, and I'm really kind of honing in tomorrow night. This is 8 o'clock. That is a smattering of some extremely heavy rain right here across the city of Tucson, and then more batches of rain coming through on the day Saturday as well. 71 last check of the airport, west-northwest winds at 6 miles per hour, 65 Midtown, 65 Sabino Canyon, and we're looking at temperatures into the 50s for Cochise and Santa Cruz County. Forward extended forecast, 65 tomorrow, 90% chance of valley rain, mountain snow. Pretty impactful event, 90% chance, not out of the 50s on Saturday, 20% chance Christmas Eve day, but clearing from west to east. That'll set the stage for a sunny and dry Christmas day, 63, mid-60s Tuesday and Wednesday. Maybe we'll throw in another 70 next Thursday. So now is the time to make all your preparations if you are traveling to get out of town. And if you're staying in town Christmas shopping, just be careful on the roadways. They'll be slick at times.
A great point. We want the rain, we want the storm, but we want you guys to be safe. Thank you, Matt. Well,